I'm David Volk for Chin Music. This is the second in a series of pieces poking fun at Project 2025. This one gets a little deep and a little boring, but it is funny. Stick with me. The title, this is how it starts. Forget chaos. In tedium, we can steal. As I said, this section of Project 2025 is so boring. I had to struggle to stay awake while reading it, and for good reason. This is where the Heritage Society establishes its case by explaining how things work. Like how the White House works, complete with a hierarchy chart involving the Chief of Staff, the Deputy Chiefs of Staff, the Deputy Sheriffs, and of course, I'm pretty sure Deputy Dog is in there somewhere. It's civics class level stuff, if civics classes were still offered in public schools. Only those classes never covered it in this level of granularity before. So your eyes glaze over and you think you can skip it because you think you know it. And that would be a big mistake because the authors of Project 2025 are lawyers and they know how to hide shit. So 1 minute they'll be writing about the most mundane stuff, then they'll throw in some wild ass shit you might have missed. And even if you had read it, you still might have overlooked it unless you were really paying attention, and maybe not even then. As an example, a paragraph, and I said this is dull shit, as a paragraph on the duties of the Chief of Staff might start out saying, the Chief of Staff's first managerial task is to establish an organizational chart for the White House office. It should be simple and contain clear lines of authority. Then, out of nowhere, it will add, the Chief of Staff is also required to round up slow-moving members of the previous administration and kill them. Then, without missing a beat, we'll continue with, it should also identify specific points of contact. What was that? Come again? The Heritage Society knows that most of you will gloss right over that passage without giving it a second thought. So they'll wait a few pages or so and throw in another whopper or so just to test you. Because they know you're nodding to this shit without saying something is essentially the same thing as you're agreeing to it. Don't believe me? Here are just a few of the whoppers and other questionable observations I found in today's reading. And again, be prepared. Some of them are really dull. 1. Check your briefs. As 2025 points out, the job of the Chief of Staff is to brief the President on progress achieving his or her policy goals and other issues of importance. Which essentially means, I guess, that Trump's chief during his first and only term was in charge of finding an artist to draw a cartoon explaining the day's issues, which Trump might or might not look at and might or might not pretend he understood because, of course, he still can't read. 2. An inside man. Boy, get ready. This is kind of dull. 2025 explains that Deputy Chiefs of Staff for policy deal with the IGA, the OPA, and the APO. Why they need someone to deal with Midwestern grocery store chains like the IGA and a Greek exclamation is beyond me. Okay, IGA actually stands for Intergovernmental Affairs. OPA is the Office of Public Affairs, and I don't remember the other one or what the title really means because I am that bored. I'm sure you are too. Regardless, 2025 mentioned this position and said, are you ready? This could help conservatives because this person could help connect the White House to external groups. Why is that important? I don't know, but it definitely sounds sinister to me, so I could be way off base on that one. But this one I'm not. We're not saying they should wear cheerleaders' outfits, but under an unexciting section, wow, aren't they all? Under an unexciting section about the White House Chief Counsel, 2025 says his office should protect the powers and privileges of the president from encroachments by Congress, the judiciary, and departments and agencies. Oh, like that silly little thing known as the system of checks and balances under 3 separate but equal branches of government? How quaint. Okay, next, who's your daddy? As 2025 points out, underlings of the White House counsel's office should be deeply committed to the president's agenda. And here's a quote, they should not erect roadblocks out of an abundance of caution, in case it's like illegal or something. Instead, it says they should provide useful advice to promote the president's agenda, quote, within the bounds of the law, end quote. My question is, whose law? The regular law or the new law passed by the Supreme Court that says anything the president does is legal because it's an official act? I don't know. Do you know? You tell me. Write in, please. I don't care. And then, what could possibly go wrong? Another long explanation. In the past, the White House and Department of Justice have supported a memo requiring all communication between the two entities happen only between the White House counsel and the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General. So what this is saying here is it's limiting the contact between the White House and the Justice Department. Only the White House counsel and only the Deputy Attorney General or the Attorney General at the Department of Justice can talk to each other. That's the official channel, so no chicanery can be going on. 2025 wants the next administration to re-examine the policy to determine if it might be, quote, more efficient for communication to occur through additional channels. Oh, you mean like the president calling up and bullying the Attorney General to do what he wants under threat of whatever? Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, next, searching for Mr. Right Now. Although the book gives a nod to the importance of a White House counsel having knowledge of the Constitution, administrative, and regulatory law, it also says, quote, while a candidate with elite credentials might seem ideal, the best candidate would be loyal to the president. Yes, it mentions loyalty to the Constitution, but only after loyalty to the chief executive. So what they're really saying is that it's more important to hire a toady who admits some passing awareness of the foundation of our laws. It says something about the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, doesn't it? No, that's the Declaration of Independence, idiot! Then it is to follow the law. Again, I ask, what could possibly go wrong? And then we come to the free press. As we know, the free press is neither free nor pressing. Whether you know it or not, the press corps covering the president has offices in the White House. Ideally, it's supposed to be so they can cover the president closely and watch him like a hawk. But in reality, it's so they can stand around and parrot whatever the administration puts out in its press releases without expending a lot of effort. They just attend the daily briefing and then they file something, but nothing of importance. Despite the free publicity, 2025 just happens to observe in passing that, quote, no legal entitlement exists for provision of permanent space for media on the White House campus. And the next administration should examine the balance between the media and space constraints on White House premises. So what they're saying essentially is, hey, we're getting ready to lie our faces off and really don't want the press around to see us have nervous breakdowns from all the lying we'll have to do because they'll know we're full of shit. So instead of saying that, they say, oh, we're running out of space. There's no room for the press in our new society. I guess. I don't know. And then the only way to ensure a free press is to own one. It's hard to know if the group is checking to see if readers are still asleep or whether it's just bragging when it takes another swipe at the press. Maybe they've gotten so drunk on power or what they've said so far that they can't help but add, quote, the new administration should examine the nature of the relationship between itself and the White House Correspondents Association and consider whether an alternative coordinating body might be more suitable. Still smarting from all those jokes at your expense during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, are you? The folks behind 2025 may not have much of a sense of humor, but they can tell when they're being laughed at, even if they aren't smart enough to understand the jokes. And they hate it. The only question is, what would they replace the Correspondents Association with? The Joseph Goebbels Memorial Press Association? The Full Murdoch? Taco Bell? In the future, all media outlets will be Taco Bell? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it won't be helpful or good. That's it. Show's not over yet. Everybody go on about their business for now. Watch this space and vote blue.